Welcome everyone to this voiceover. Sorry, we forgot to press record on the original video recording. This is me reminding everybody why we're here. We're here to share our knowledge and learn about AI and high performance. I also remind people that these are not technical sessions, and people attending these sessions are already ahead of most people. I ask people to scan the QR code and fill in the form, which is going to be used for a demo later in the session. Massive thank you to Momentum for sponsoring this event. We also talked about having our drivers. We have 4 people on the team now. Myself, John, Jay, and Angela. And without them, we wouldn't be able to run such great events. We're also looking for hosts and speakers. So if you know of any hosts or speakers that you'd like to host an event, let me know. We've introduced a new slide. This is to cover monthly news. On this slide, this month, I talked about what was happening in the last 30 days. The big news was Google I/O and Microsoft Build events. And their big focus was on AI digital teammates and agentic workflows. Expect to see more of those in the workplace near you soon. Okay, let's get started with my talk about productivity workflow agents. Let's review how this talk fits in with earlier talks this year. Thanks again to PR for her RPA talk in March. Also, the May workshops focused on building core generative AI skills, and future talks will cover agentic AI agents. We have covered a lot of ground already, but what about automating common work tasks? The shift to agency and capability. AI tools and positioning can be confusing, but let's break it down. At the basement level, some people only have access to Copilot Chat at work. Copilot Chat only allows you to query the internet. It doesn't give you other knowledge, such as company knowledge, files, emails, or anything else. Next, you have generative AI linked to your workspace. So it could be Google Gemini, it could be Microsoft 365 Copilot, OpenAI ChatGPT, or other tools like Claude. These allow access to workspace information such as emails, calendars, files, etc., and are far more useful. They can also be encapsulated into a Gen IA agent, such as a gem or a custom GPT. So that's generative AI. That's the reactive style that most people are using when they want to use AI. Next, we moved on to triggered AI. These are automations and workflows that use a trigger and do some work. First, I talked a little bit about robotic process automation, RPA, that allows Windows applications to be automated. Next, I introduced workflow agents, which is the main part of this talk. Workflow automation is great for simple processes that repeat themselves frequently and don't change a lot. The next and final area is goal-based agents. These are fully autonomous. They can execute on a continuous, self-correcting and adaptive space. We're talking about Claude Cowork, Gemini Spark, and Microsoft Copilot Cowork, and potentially in the future, Scout. Next, let's talk about what most people have in the workplace. Who can actually build what? Most professionals use Microsoft. AI is helping high-value cognitive work for most people every day, but only about 10% of employees build basic Copilot agents. Also, only about 1% build workflows using Copilot or Power Automate, and less than 1% use Microsoft Copilot Studio to build Agentic Workflows. The key takeaway? Not everyone has access to these advanced tools, but it's growing quickly. Next, let's talk about building AI workflow tools. Looking at workflow tools like Power Automate and Google Workspace, all of these tools are low-code tools or no-code tools. Basically, they are no more complex than Excel spreadsheets. They execute a defined workflow. They are ideal for flows that execute again and again. All of these tools trigger on events like emails arriving, file changings, or scheduling a time. Zapier and Make are the most powerful tools. Most people will only have access to Microsoft or Google Workflows. So, let's look at one of these. Let's have a quick look at Google Workspace Studio. You use it to automate your daily work. There are quick starts to get you started. You can build on them or start from scratch. Every workflow has a starter step and multiple action steps. Step process data, make decisions, and makes updates. Now let's look at a couple of simple examples. Let's start with processing packaging slips. Reviewing everything by hand is time consuming. We only need to manage by exception. We only care about missing items. Here's an example. The flow starts with a packaging slip email. We analyze the PDF packaging slip, find what items are missing, summarize the file details, and send notification. The magic in this workflow happens in the decide step. Gemini does most of the work for us to review the attached PDF. We can use its output in the following steps. This could include a check if branching condition for processing. That's a simple example, but it's one I use for my weekly Woolworths shop. Now let's look at another example. Remember QR code from the beginning of the meeting, where people scanned the code and filled in the form? This is where I talk about the responses. So people filled in the form for the peak performance end of year event suggestions. We have two workflows to manage this process. The first one processes the form's responses as they come in, stores them into documents, and makes some decisions. The second one recommends an event after the cutoff time, which was about 5 minutes earlier. Workflows can call tools. In this case, we call a custom gem, which has already reviewed the activity, date, time suggestions, selected the top categories and dates, and finds a suitable venue. Finally, the workflow blocks out time in my calendar and sends me a notification for review. Thanks again to our speakers and for Momentum for hosting the event. Please share your comments in the LinkedIn group. Next month, Peak Performance and AI will be hosted by Radically Consulting. Follow us at our website, ppai.nz, and on Eventbrite. Thanks, everyone.